What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 88 of the RXP podcast where four working professionals talk all about their love for movies, TV shows, and video games. My name is Matt, and I am joined by Alex.
It's real cold here.
Brr, and Tiffany.
I'm embarrassed about my 2023 goals. Performance.
Oh, don't be embarrassed. And Yasser.
Prepared to be evaluated.
Ooh.
That's right. That is right. The judge is in session because, you know, Tiffany, you kind of alluded to this, right? 11 main episodes ago, we made some goals and we said, hey, 2023 is going to be our most productive year yet. Little did we know that may not have happened, or it could have. I don't know. I actually have no idea how you guys have done on your goals. I know how some of you have done on your goals, but I don't know how everyone has done on their goals.
Right.
So today we're going to recap these goals, and you know, 3 of us were here, 3 of us made goals, and now our 4th and final member, Yasser, is here to evaluate how well we did. So I'm going to just go down the list. Who wants to go first? Who wants to be evaluated first?
You know what? Let me just, since I already prefaced the show with it, let it be me.
I'm so glad you said that because you're first on my list. So I was going to suggest it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It just naturally went Tiff, Alex, Matt. Sorry. That's just what it looks like.
It's like the teacher who doesn't want to pick from the list and just asks, who would like to volunteer. And then they're like, okay, no volunteers, alphabetical order. Let's go.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Tiffany, you made a few goals.
Yep.
You made a few good goals. Like, honestly, like, these are really nice goals. You started off talking about some movies. You said, hey, I'm going to watch 10 movies in the theater this year. Then you said, I love reading. I'm going to read 78 books this year. One, I still, even after listening to the podcast, I don't know where 78 came from. Maybe you can tell me about that in a little bit.
Okay.
You wanted to read books of the month, some subscription service, but Alex challenged you, hey, you know what? I want you to read one nonfiction book. One that, like, I don't remember this, but, like, that was a big deal to you for at least 35 seconds. And then you're like, no, I can do this. I'm, like, reading something. So already at this time, you were already reading 21 books. When we recorded, you had already read 21 books. Like, we recorded this maybe beginning of February, but your goal was 78.
Yep.
Outside of that, you wanted to read My Hero Academia? Maybe?
Yeah.
Question mark? And then you wanted to get to Galactic level in Marvel Snap.
Mm-hmm.
And then your last goal was to play and roll credits on Fire Emblem Engage, Hogwarts Legacy, and Spider-Man 2. So, Tiffany, I would like for you to
break
walk
it down?
down these goals and let me know what happened.
Okay, Yas, are you ready for this? Those were my
ready.
goals. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I did see 10 movies in the theater.
Okay.
Which ones?
It was a good time in cinema. So I can definitely go down that list. So I'm actually pulling up Letterboxd right now because that really helped me keep track of those.
Smart.
So I watched, I wish, right? Okay. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Shazam, Fury of the Gods. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The Little Mermaid. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The Flash. Elemental. Barbie, the Marvels.
That's very
Nice.
on brand. That list is very on brand.
It's so
I'm
on
not gonna
brand.
lie.
Yeah, so
Nothing surprised me on that list.
that I saw 10. I saw 10 movies. So that was really fun. I enjoy, I saw them with friends. I saw it. Did I see any by myself? I don't think so. But yeah, I saw those movies, had a good time. I enjoy going to the theater. So, and that was made because there once was a time when I had Movie Pass and I went to the theater.
Oh,
many times.
Movie Pass. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Blast from the past.
Yeah, and so in 2022, I barely saw any movies in the theater, and so that's why I was like, I want to go back to the cinema. So
Did you get Movie Pass?
No,
because you know it's back, right?
I know it's back, and I was like,
Okay.
no, thank you. I also don't have Regal Unlimited. It's like $22 a month to see a movie at the Regal Cinema, once a day or something, but I didn't get that because I knew that it would be very rare for me to see 2 movies a month, because that would be like the minimum. And when I had like mapped out the calendar, I knew that wasn't going to be it. So yeah,
solid start.
Check.
Solid start.
Okay, solid start. Yeah. So then
Yeah.
books, my book goal, 78 books came from 1.5 times 52 weeks. So that's where the number 78 came from. And
that's so quick.
I read 80 books.
Wow.
Now,
Nice.
Smashed it.
Caveat, I did read nonfiction.
Okay.
The nonfiction I read a lot of memoirs. I experienced a lot of memoirs last year.
Nice.
I found that I really enjoyed audiobooks when the author is their own narrator.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I listened to Ali Wong's book. I listened to The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, which is basically Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally's book. I listened to Bob Iger's book, Simu Liu's book. A lot of nonfiction, actually. Very, very surprising. It was a newfound love. And I do have to say that I didn't read My Hero Academia, so that was a bummer.
Okay.
Maybe a minus point there. But I also did document a lot of like webtoons and comics as part of, I kept track through Goodreads. And if it was on Goodreads and I was able to document it, I put it on there. So that's how I found out my number of 80.
Nice.
And so, but the thing is, like, reading the webtoon, which is still like dozens of chapters a volume, I was like, I can document this. If it's on here, I'm just going to do it. Plus, it helps me keep track.
It counts. We're not arguing
Sweet.
the point. You're good.
Sweet. And then also, I'm going to be real, because I read so many things, I like keeping track on Goodreads. And so sometimes I can't really name, the comic that I read. And so I can literally go back and go there. So that was really cool. So yes, I did that,
Nice.
which
So
is awesome.
out of all those books, did one or two like stand out?
I would say yes, because one of the series ended up making the top 6 recommended experiences. So I would say that. Otherwise,
Any
and then I have a couple. I do have a couple. Oh yes, actually, I had 2 I had 5 favorite reads this year, or last year, and Bob Iger's Ride of a Lifetime and Simu Liu's We Were Dreamers. Those 2 nonfiction books were fantastic. I love them. Nice. A lot of emotions with Simu's story, and 2 other books, kind of my favorites. One of them is called Divine Rivals. The sequel came out at the end of last year, and then another book was called Love Theoretically. That came out like in the summertime or something. But that, along with like the Fourth Wing book series, were super fun. I had a sub-bullet goal in that one, which was to complete all my subscription books that I had bought, and that did not happen. I did not finish them. I still have like halfway to go on that. The galactic level performance for Marvel Snap, I actually overshot and made it to Infinite 5 times last year.
5 times?
Yes, 5 times.
Gosh.
I may have had help from Alex's coaching.
For how many of those times?
I would say like probably 2 of those times. I don't know.
Okay.
One of those times,
Sweet.
He straight up helped me out. I was like, Alex, I'm stuck in like the 80s. Help me. And he just he just got me up there.
Are you familiar with Marvel Snap at all?
No, I have no idea what she's talking about right now.
So Galactic, her goal was to get to level 90 in the season, which basically, like, if you win games, you're going up in rank, and if you lose games, you go down in rank. So it's really tough, and it's like a push and pull. So 90 is Galactic, which was her goal. Infinite is getting to level 100, which is like the highest you can get. Once you get there, you can't go back. I've only gone there once before I, kick the habit of Marvel Snap.
Does it like reset? How did you do it 5 times?
Yes, each season it resets.
Okay,
and
but like you don't go all the way down, right?
No.
You just drop a little bit. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
You drop a little bit and reset.
Wow.
Very pleased getting to Infinite. That was a good time. And then this is where my biggest shame comes up, rolling credits on 3 big AAA games, and I did not roll credits on any of those 3 games: Fire Emblem Engage, Spider-Man 2, or Hogwarts Legacy.
That's very
You
tough.
started 2 of them, right?
I did. I started 2
Engage
of them.
and Legacy, Hogwarts
Mhm.
Legacy. Okay.
Yes.
How far along were you in those 2? Like halfway? Hard to tell?
So in Hogwarts Legacy, I got to the map room, a little bit past that.
Had the seasons changed?
No.
Okay. We know approximately where you're at. Okay.
And then in Fire Emblem Engage, I've played for like 3 hours.
Okay. So you pretty much bombed those goals for sure.
Yeah, but movie and book wise, and mobile game.
Yes, I would honestly give you a good 4 out of 5 stars there, because
4
honestly,
out of 5.
Yeah,
Wow.
because the ones that you did accomplish are actually much more difficult than the ones that you didn't accomplish. So the ones that you like really gave yourself a really tough goal to match or beat, you beat it. So that's very impressive. And so that's why I feel like you didn't have a big gaming year, and that's okay, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'm so pleased.
Well done, Tiffany. 4 out of 5. That's pretty. I bet you didn't think
No.
you were going to come on this podcast and get a 4 out of 5.
No, I thought it was
you know what I
be
mean?
a mid score. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pleased with a 4 out of 5.
Starfield can barely get a 4 out of 5. You know what I mean? And you just nailed it. You nailed it. All right, Alex, you made my life a little bit difficult because you had a different interpretation of goals for 2023. You had major goals and minor goals. Do you remember this at all?
I think he forgot about the goal of charging his headphones. Hold on.
Alex, do you remember having major and minor goals? Are you with us?
Yes,
Oh, no.
I think we have some technical difficulties.
You know, we're gonna move to me. We're gonna move to me.
Matt,
Okay.
I think it's
All right,
time.
I think it's time because now that I'm seeing Tiffany, she's actually nailed some of these goals, and I'm looking at my goals. One, I don't have as many, and I think,
Oh.
4 out of 5 seems kind of nice, and I don't know if I'm gonna get there. So, my first goal, was to rate and rank 52 movies in Letterboxd.
Yes.
Whoa.
So, one every week. That was my goal. It was definitely my loftiest goal.
Yeah, it's very lofty.
I, as a non-reader, I have not really read before pharmacy school. Since before pharmacy school. Not really something that I do quite often. My goal was to read 1 book a month, so 12 books in a year. And then my last was to kind of go after that white whale, to beat and platinum Persona 5 Royal.
Oh.
With that, I did ask that we make a peer review with Tiffany and Alex and really drag Tiffany along on this experience with me. That technically never happened. We never did, we talked about doing a book club style peer review, which still is a great idea, but we just never got to it. But I did finish in platinum Persona 5 Royal. I think it was 125 hours.
Oh my god.
And it was a beefy one. So for 52 movies, pulling up Letterboxd, I believe my final count, I did not make it. Spoiler alert. I watched 28 new movies. So these are 52 new movies. So a little bit over halfway.
Okay.
So I averaged a little bit under every 2 weeks I would watch a movie.
That's pretty good.
That's
basically towards the end of the year, I was watching a movie every few days to try to.
Were you trying to get the goal?
And it doesn't matter how fast you did it, right? If you did it, you did it. You could have crammed it all in one day.
It's true. It's true.
Actually, you literally couldn't do that, but okay.
Yeah.
Mini movies. They're all playing at the same time. I have 50.
They're short films. They're like 15-minute movies.
That definitely kind of
So that was
just
your
happened
new
to
movie
me.
count.
New movie count.
Did you rewatch any movies on Letterboxd and rate them?
I rewatched a few.
Okay.
Probably 10 or so, 10 to 15.
Okay.
Nice.
New ones. The month of December, I watched 8 movies. That was my highest month. June was another good one.
Cramming them in.
I had 5 in June. 3 in July. One was Barbie, one was Oppenheimer, literally a day apart.
Ooh.
And that
Yeah.
was like 2 out of the 3. But like the summer, I kind of just gave up. Like August, I only had 2. I didn't have any in September. So like I just didn't keep up.
This
with
is
it.
also very on brand for you. Just like
This
the
is very
serial
on brand.
procrastinator. Yeah.
Yeah, wait till the last minute, makes a good effort,
Yeah.
but enjoyed myself. 12 books last year. I finished 9.
That's
Very-
pretty good.
Nice.
I'm honestly very proud of that 9. Like
Yeah,
going
absolutely.
from 0 for years and then going
Yeah,
to 9 was
that's
a big deal for
huge.
me.
That's
Um,
huge.
Honestly, had like awesome experience with books. Like I've talked on this pod. Like I feel like I respect books a lot more because I feel like there's so much parallels between books and movies, and
Mhm.
a lot of books turn into a lot of movies. And so it's definitely something that I'm glad that goal existed, even though it just didn't happen for me this year. And then Persona 5 Royal, platinumed it, loved it.
Nailed it.
Did not make my top 6, but it was like an amazing game. Like when I think about a JRPG, it's what I think of. And started it from fresh. I had like maybe a save of like 15 hours and just wanted to do a restart, refresh, and just like go for it. And I loved it. I really loved it. I would have loved to do a peer review, but also it was a down year for gaming for people. So it was tough to drag you all along for that
Yeah.
experience.
My
That's
Because
apologies.
It's a
20
lot.
hours.
It's
is
a lot.
a large investment.
That's like
say the
more
least.
than what I played on my PlayStation, apparently.
Like total.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That is, and that's, you're getting the platinum as you go along. Like by the time you finish the game, you get the platinum. But in my mind, like this is probably the longest game from start to finish where I'm not like having to do cleanup. You know what I mean? Like I just
Yeah.
beat a game and then you have like 8 to 10 hours of cleanup. Like there's no cleanup. Like that 25 hours was like the campaign that did include a lot of trophies that were kind of side stuff, but you're still doing stuff during that time. So it's like, it is a beefy game. And it makes me like, Alex texted me earlier this week that, Persona 3 is coming to Game Pass. And I was like, awesome. That's amazing. But also like, I almost shudder at the fact of like trying to tackle another Persona game. I'm like,
Yeah,
that
so
took
soon.
up like when I look at the
PTSD.
summer when I didn't watch as many movies, like
It's 'cause you
I
were
was
playing
playing
Persona.
Persona 5 Royal. Like
Yeah.
that was my summer game.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are my 3 goals. How'd I do?
Okay. Honestly, very lofty goals. So I definitely appreciate that. And you make a very good point that one lofty goal kind of overseeded the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's understandable why you didn't quite get there. I'd probably give you a 3 out of 5. I think
All right.
you got a solid
I'll take
3 out
it.
of 5.
I'll
Because
take
you
it.
made very lofty goals for things that you really wanted to do, and you hit one of them, and then the others I think are just going to be your goals for next year.
Maybe.
Could
I
be.
might get to that.
Maybe.
All right, Alex.
So I'll just cut in here. My headset died, so that's why I had to switch.
Oh, we know.
headsets.
Yeah.
Someone
I
forgot
guess
to
I'll
charge
I
their
don't know how you
Sony's.
cut it up the other one, but I'll just
Listen,
splice it up.
No, leave
man.
it in.
Leave
No
it
need.
in.
Leave
Oh,
it
is
in.
that part in? Okay.
Yeah.
This is the character of our podcast. It's
All right.
like,
I don't.
if something
couldn't
goes
hear you
wrong, we'll
guys,
let you
I don't
know.
know how you transitioned to Mad. Just get back.
Very smoothly. That's how
Yeah,
he transitioned.
pretty
it was
smooth, to be
so
honest.
smooth.
Okay,
I tried
great.
twice before I went off
Just
on
moved on.
just going
Yeah.
for me. Yeah. But you know what, Alex? We're, this is the time of giving, so we'll give you this time to spotlight your goals. You, of course, I was telling you, you gave me such a hard time re-listening to this because everyone has goals. Like Tiffany has goals, goal 1, goal 2, goal 3. I have goals, goal 1, goal 2, goal 3. You come along and you're like, well, guys, I've got major resolutions and minor resolutions.
Yeah, that's like a 1 and a 2, no?
And then you give us a choice. Which one do you want to hear first? Tiffany and I try to fill in as much time as we can in 30 to 40 seconds before we decide, oh, you might as well go with the major resolution. So your major resolution, these were all themed, by the way. Your major resolution was finish what I've started. That was your major resolution. And in this,
Okay.
which you further defined as if I do not meet any of these, this is the minimum I have to do to get credit.
Mm.
You said I have to finish Supernatural, Big Bang Theory,
Mm.
One Piece anime, Glass Onion, Witcher Season 2, My Hero Academia, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime.
Wait, just
You
the
then-
entire anime?
To finish it. Like, he's already started it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's to finish all those series.
Okay, all right.
So that was his major, of course. Now his
That was the bare
minor-
minimum. Uh-huh.
that was the
yeah.
bare minimum he had to meet
Yes.
his major resolution. So his minor resolution was play more indie games. And you included Chicory, Chained Echoes, Toem, Stray, Plague Tale Requiem, Immortality, Sea of Stars, and Plucky Squire. But you know what? Plucky Squire didn't come out last year, so we're going to give you a pass on Plucky Squire.
Yeah.
So, Alex, please go down this list. Maybe start with major criteria or your major resolution.
Okay, because I was going to
How'd you
ask
do?
once again, what did you want me to start with?
No, God.
The minor.
Yeah,
The
go ahead and start with
major
major.
arcana.
Yeah, the major. So so more simplistically, I guess it came down to like the major was like finishing watching a lot of things, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel like when I start watching a lot of stuff, it succumbs to this idea, right? Of I don't, because watching is less engaging for me, right? It's like, right, when you're watching something, it's more of a passive thing as opposed to playing games, that I'm not as, I guess, hooked on unless it's something that really great to finish it immediately. So a lot of these were loose hanging threads. A couple of them were related to the fact that I was watching them with Tiffany. And so there was kind of like a partnership there where we weren't watching them individually. So I was kind of beholden to both of our schedules being available. So starting with the major, I would say I finished. So the things we finished, I finished Yu-Gi-Oh! And to explain this,
Nice.
there are multiple seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was
Mhm.
specifically referring to the one I was watching at the time, which is Arc V.
Okay.
And so that was about 120 episodes in total. And then I finished that. And on top of that, I actually watched another season of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is about also 120 episodes. And I finished that too.
Oh
So I
my
finished
god.
Going for extra
yeah,
credit.
two
Yeah.
whole like seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh! I finished.
Okay.
I finished Witcher season 2. You know, obviously at the time, season 3 came out last year. Have yet to watch that, but that wasn't on my to-do list, right? 'Cause
Was
I
it on
hadn't
your
started
list?
it.
Nope.
Yep.
So finished Witcher season 2, finished The Big Bang Theory, right? Obviously that show ended, I think
Like
at this point,
5
like 4
years
or
ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought
Um,
we only just finished it last year. That
Yeah.
surprises me.
And so we finally got around to it, and that was a long-running show that we were watching even as it was coming out
Since
at
it
some points.
debuted. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that was kind of that thing in the making of I need to finish this series, right? Because it's been going on for so long, and I've watched 90% of the episodes, right? And we only had basically like a couple seasons left to go.
Mhm.
That was something I'm like, no matter how, I guess, poor the quality got or how much better it got, I just wanted to see it to the end because it was a lot of my, I guess, school watching, right? Like while I was going to school, this was kind
Mhm.
of one of those shows I was just going back to every single season.
I teared up at the end. of
Yeah,
that
very
one.
emotional. I think honestly that ended in a very succinct way that fit, right?
Yeah.
Like this wasn't a show with like grandiose ideas, right? Like it's a sitcom, and so it's not
At the end of it was
designed-
all a metaphor. It's
Yeah.
like, actually, there's no
Okay.
Sheldon. It's talking about
Yeah.
capitalism and the tiers of classes.
and then now we get young Sheldon to continue the journey. If you so choose. That wasn't on the list either. I'm not gonna watch that. I'm done with the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
But wrap that up. Supernatural, another
Oh my
long running
gosh. Yeah.
show that debuted back in the mid 2000s, and I really only got into it because Tiffany was too afraid to watch it by herself because one of her friends recommended it. So I was dragged onto the train to start
Yeah,
it.
my baby brother. I forced my baby brother to watch this scary show with
He's got to
me.
grow up somehow, you know?
And honestly, it got less scary as the
It-
show went on. So it
it
really was
did.
the scariest at the beginning, and then by
Yeah.
the time we
Oh.
get to, I think it was season 15, is when it ended. That it wasn't scary anymore.
Yeah, it was not scary.
15 seasons.
Yeah,
You
bro.
watch anything for long enough and it's not that scary anymore.
No,
Yeah.
but for real, they like straight up had jump scares in like the first like 5 seasons, and then after that, it just like wasn't that.
Hmm.
And then it became about familia.
Yes.
The Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious, Supernatural.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, so finish that. Glass Onion, I loved Knives Out when I saw it in the theaters.
Fantastic.
Back in, I think it was like 2019 is when that came out, so pre-pandemic. Fantastic movie. So Glass Onion, that came out, and I didn't have a chance to see it in the theaters, but it was also rated, I think it simultaneously debuted on Netflix.
That's right.
And so that was on my to-do list to get done, so I did get to watch it on Netflix, so that's done. So those were all the things I finished. So 2 things that I then left off the list that I guess I would say I at least touched upon, but I didn't finish, were One Piece and My Hero Academia. So One Piece, I had actually watched everything I was going to watch prior to have recorded that episode. So I watched in January of 2023 400 episodes of One Piece. So that took me all the way. So for context, it was from the beginning of the Thriller Bark arc all the way until the end of Dressrosa. And part of my intention with making the goal was to, I guess, catch up to the current release. So, wherever it was by December, I was going to be caught up with the series. I ended up not watching any more One Piece. It was a combination of the fact that I burned out with 400 episodes in 1 month at the beginning of the year, or the fact that I actually played and platted the RPG last year as well. So that covered basically the same like arcs that I watched in the show. And so I think it was this kind of like double assault of like, I overloaded already. And then I repeated the story again just in game.
Oh, and that game drags on, man. I just platinumed it. It was my second platinum of the year. And dude, it took me a year to beat. And I felt like I was playing it all year. And it was only like 57 hours. And I'm like, whoa, I love these characters and love this story. But please, don't make me do another fetch quest, please. So I would be burnt out too, man. That's all I'm saying. Okay, what about My Hero Academia?
And with My Hero, I did watch, but I didn't finish. So I was towards the end of season 4, and at the current time, I think they've just finished airing season 6. And so my intention was to watch all the way up to the current season, but I ended up only finishing season 4. And
were you at season 4 at the beginning of the year, or where were you in the beginning of the year?
I was in the middle of season 4.
Okay,
so I just finished that season and I didn't get to it. I don't want to excuse it because that's also a show where I have someone else. I was watching that with friends. And so that was also another thing kind of similar to Big Bang Theory and Supernatural, where watching and getting through that is more dependent upon, I guess, scheduling. Be like, when are you free to watch?
Sure.
But besides that, at least I got to some of it, right? Like we finished the current season.
Sure.
And so I have a clean point of knowing if I do resume beginning of season 5, episode 1, that's where I got it start, and then just catch up to the end.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So that's what I did for that. So at least on my watch to-do list, I touched upon everything, even if I didn't finish everything. So I'm proud of that for myself at least.
Listen,
I'm proud
you have
of
a lot
too.
to be proud of. Those were a lot of episodes you just watched.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
what
about
minors?
Minor?
All right, Minor, the games. So part of it, right, as Matt mentioned, it was kind of an indie focus because I realized, going into 2023, there was a lot of, at least from my perspective, when I look back on the games I've played, obviously I have a large focus on AAA titles, right? Like these are blockbuster budget games, right? These are like full price $60, now $70 titles. And obviously, trying to get to the best of the best, right? A lot of the smaller stuff falls to the wayside. And having just come off of the Game Awards, there was this kind of emphasis on, wow, there's a lot of games that were obviously nominated for various awards at the Game Awards. I'm like, I should get to these, right? Because as a consumer of the video game industry, I want to be more well-rounded, right? Like I want to get to the big games, but I also want to experience kind of like the smaller indie stuff, especially the stuff that rises to the top. And so part of the focus for last year was to get to more indie titles, because I feel like from my gaming library, if you kind of look at the history of things I've played right over the past 20 some years, typically I skip over these, right? Because I enjoy the creative endeavor. I enjoy the spectacle, right? It's kind of like the difference between, watching these big like Marvel level / Michael Bay level films where there's a lot of action, there's a lot of budget versus kind of the more art house like indie stuff, right? That you might see at like the Cannes Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And so playing the indie games, I actually got through most of these basically except for one. Played and platted Toem, played and platted Chicory, played Chained Echoes. I didn't get the platinum, but I at least rolled credits on it. Played and platted Tinykin. Obviously, Matt mentioned Plucky Squire that got delayed out of 2023, so that's impossible for me to play. Unless Devolver wants to send me a early review copy, I'll totally do that. We can post.
And they might as well send it to all of us. Honestly.
Yeah, sure,
like,
sure. We'll sign the
have a
NDA.
good
Devolver.
conversation.
Yeah, hook us up.
Peer review,
yeah. Sea of Stars played and platted. Stray I played, did not get the platinum though, but I rolled credits. And so of the list, the only game I didn't touch was Immortality that I listed, and that's mostly because when I looked more into Immortality, so Immortality is kind of a, for lack of a better term, like a thriller mystery kind of visual novel where you're essentially you're watching these like pre-recorded scenes, right? These are live actors, and you're clicking on you're pausing, playing, rewinding scenes, and you'll click on various elements on the screen, and those elements will then take you to other related scenes based on the element you click. So, right, if you click like a certain character, it might jump you to a character, randomly in another scene, right, that involves it. And so based on that initial kind of explanation, I was very intrigued, right? Because this is definitely something that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm not a big visual novel games person, right? Because I think it toes the line too closely to, right, just movies or shows. And so if I'm playing a game, I'd rather like play a game, right? Instead of, interacting with a interactive like visual novel, just storytelling.
Yeah.
But what got me to not touch it at all, I actually dropped off my list. I basically just failed on this, was because I learned kind of the mechanic wasn't necessarily as direct as it was. So if you were to click on something, let's say you clicked on a character in a scene, it actually wasn't guaranteed to bring you to another scene including that character. And I read into it and kind of some people's reviews about it, based on Steam reviews of people that actually played the game. A lot of the mechanic was basically random. And so there were certain things where you could not progress through the game until you've clicked on, I guess, a minimum number of things. So you could be clicking the same thing over and over again, and it wouldn't take you past a certain point, right? Because you didn't click on something else. So there was this kind of what I felt like it was more of a deterministic type of experience where they obviously wanted you to click on a minimum number of things, even if you had already figured it out. And it felt like it was more of a hindrance than an actual like true like mystery kind of solving puzzle type of thing where you might know already what's going to happen. If I click on this character at this point, they're going to be related to this other thing. You might have, right, the whole Charlie Day, the map with all the red lines mapped down in your brain, but because of how the game's designed, it won't let you progress, right? Because you didn't click on this other thing at some point. And so because of that, I felt like the experience wasn't as true as I expected it to be. And so I ended up not touching it at all because I didn't want that kind of like, I guess, more hand-holdy type of gameplay.
So you didn't even buy it?
I didn't even buy it, no.
Yeah, okay.
Gotcha. Did you play Plague Tale Requiem? Did you say that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the other game I didn't touch. So I failed on that too.
Nice
Didn't
try, Alex.
Yeah, I know.
Nice try.
I did forget about that.
Interesting.
But
Let
at
the record
least
show.
Yeah.
they just gave it away as part of the catalog on PlayStation, and
True.
that is now definitely on my to-do list along with Innocence. So part of my, and this isn't a goal, but I'll, as a make good for this year, I do want to play Innocence and Requiem.
Nice.
So that's on my to-do list for this year, but it's not a goal I have per se, explicitly.
Okay.
What's the verdict, Yasser?
All right. So to be clear, we are giving away grades here, but at the same time, these are supposed to be things that we're enjoying, right? So like, if you didn't get to something or if you didn't like something, I think it's totally okay to kind of scrap it and say, okay, I'm moving on to the next experience.
Sure.
These are supposed to be things that you're enjoying. So I'm not going to be taking points off of, like for that example, that game that you didn't feel like really spoke to you. I was gonna give you 5 stars until you forgot to mention Plague Tale. That was kind of
Cheaters never
iffy
win.
from my perspective.
Cheaters
Yeah.
never
Sus.
win.
So
it wasn't cheating. I just forgot
Eject
because it
him.
also wasn't on my list
Listen.
of notes.
listen, these are your goals. You forgot one of them. That's not on me.
Yeah.
I will still give you 4.5 out of 5 stars. That was incredible. You were very lofty, and yet still you over exceeded
Congratulations.
Love it.
those goals that you put. Very impressed. So yeah, 4.5 out of 5. I think you win 2023's goals.
Goals.
I mean, it's
Excellent.
not a competition, right? These are our goals.
Right.
Yeah, personal goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like I think even coming from a 3 out of 5 performance this year, like I still learned from it. Like I still
Yeah.
had a good time, and that's the
Absolutely.
point of a good goal.
Right.
So
I'm proud of all of
Now-
us.
I'm proud of us too. I'm
Yeah.
proud of us too. And you know what I'm going to be proud of? 12 months from now, when we talk about our 2024 goals,
Oh,
we're going to have to
gosh.
find a 5th chair because all 4 of us are going to be talking about our goals, and we're just going to keep adding one more person to be our judge each year. We have no preset goals. Like you can have as many or as few as you like. They could be as lofty as you like. They could be as weak sauce as you like. Whatever strokes your fancy. Now let me just start this off. I want to start off boring. To me, I had a couple goals that got away from me that at the beginning of the year I was doing really, really well on, and I just crapped down the middle of the year, and I tried to catch up towards the end of the year. And I would like to reassert myself of having 2 goals
Okay.
for 52 movies in a year. I am going to do that this year, and I'm going to
Okay.
rate them. I'm going to rank them just like last year. Follow me on Letterboxd. Some of you do. Alex, I don't think you have a Letterboxd, but if you did, you can follow me there. So that's going to be one of my goals, and my other goal is to read 12 books each year, and I'm
Love
going to
it.
be hard on that.
Love
I have
it.
already started tomorrow. That's my first book of the year. I'm maybe a quarter of the way through right now. Really enjoying it.
And okay.
I could definitely see how this is going to be sad, and it's probably going to mess me up, but like it's good. I enjoy it. I'll be definitely asking you for recs throughout the year, but that's going to be where I start.
Love it.
So to clarify, is it you said 52 new movies? So these are
52
not
new
movies
movies.
you've ever seen.
Dude, no,
Right.
it doesn't have to be new. I really
Yes. I want it to be.
Yes.
okay.
I want it to
Oh
be.
wait. But let's clarify another thing. When we say new, it means just he hasn't watched it yet.
New
not
to
that
me.
it came out this year.
Yeah.
New to me.
Okay.
Yes.
New
Which
to you, okay.
that really expands the catalog for someone
Yeah.
who's probably not like a movie fanatic.
But he
like
is a
even
movie
I
fanatic.
have like
But Matt's
we
a
like
movie
movies, but like you haven't seen a lot of movies like from
Yeah.
other time periods. I'd probably guess.
Yeah, like one of my favorite movies from last year was a movie that's always going to be on my backlog, and I actually, a person recommended a book to me, and he recommended No Country for Old Men. It was also at the time when this author passed away, and he was like, "Hey, read the book. It's great. Watch the movie after. It's a great time." And so I did, and it turned out to be one of my favorite movies I've ever
Fantastic
seen
movie.
in my entire
Oh, wow.
in my
So
entire
good.
life. Like that's a 2007 movie. That's something that like just missed me. I've always wanted to watch it, but because of like current events, like hey, I picked it up. There's like so many movies in the 60s and 70s that have like completely missed me.
Mhm.
But each year in 2024 there'll be hundreds of movies that actually come out. So I feel like 52 is going to be fine. I do consider myself a movie fanatic, but there was a time I didn't watch a lot of movies. Like the 90s are a big loss for me. Like unless it just like had
Oh,
the
wow.
zeitgeist. There's a lot of 90s movies, or, 80s movies I feel like I'm pretty good about. But like
Oh, no,
there's so many
80s
decades
movies
out,
is like a
throughout there.
blind spot for me.
So like I'm excited. I love Letterboxd and I love that platform. It's definitely my favorite platform to log, rate things, and so I'm excited. I've watched one movie so far. We're in the 3rd week of
What did you
January.
watch?
I watched Saltburn. I may have talked about
yeah.
it at some point. I started off the year watching that. It was on Amazon Prime and really loved it. I really liked it. So yeah, more to come. I think I have it in me to watch
Okay.
52 in a year.
So
I definitely have some from last year I wanted to watch, and like they are on my watch list to watch as soon as possible.
So in summary, we're re-upping both of the goals from last year.
Both of those two goals. I wanted to start it off saying, "Hey, I'm going to get better, and I'm going to finish these this year."
Okay.
I like it.
I want Yasser to give me a 5 out of 5 next year. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay, I need to go next because the
Wait, but
time.
Is that it?
Well, no.
No, we'll just
Okay.
flow.
Yeah, we'll
flow.
mix it in. We'll mix it in. But this one's very time important because I have
Okay.
2 goals, but this first one is very time important for all of you, actually. And so one of my goals this year is I would like from each of you one recommendation of either a game, book, movie, show, and I will watch it, play it, read it, or whatever. And then on top of that, I would like to do a sit-down recording with each of you discussing it, and then collating that into one episode of having this discussion with each of you of the thing that you recommended to me.
I love it.
I love that.
And
Wow.
so I'm presenting it now because it can be like, hopefully by the end of the episode, you guys can think of something, but it doesn't have to be on here. Maybe we can patch it in later to be like, you've thought of something you want me to do. But in case, whenever you want to shout it out, just let me know and I'll add it to my list and hopefully I can get through it and then we can have a discussion about it.
So there'll be 3 recommendations, and that will be the episode, is you going through each of those 3 with us, right?
Yes, like individually. So
Individually,
we'll have like
right.
a one-on-one
Right.
conversation.
And
about
you'll
it.
like splice it together or
Yes,
something?
and it'll be spliced into one comment. So this will be an extra episode I'll do outside of
Yeah.
it. So in case listeners, you see an extra episode, that means I've completed this goal successfully and I've had this conversation
Come
with
to
each of them.
Come December, it's like December 27th, 28th, and 29th. He's like making appointments with each of
Yeah.
us.
Alex, have you ever seen The Prestige?
No,
Christopher
I have
Nolan.
not.
Oh,
That
wow.
is my recommendation that I would love to sit down with you and talk about. One
Alex,
of my
Okay.
the
favorite
movies at
movies.
home. The movies at home, Alex.
One of my favorite movies of all time. Something that I love talking about, and anyone who wants to talk about it, they can't stop. Like
That's a
it's
good choice.
amazing.
Good one.
All right, Matt, and you're locking this in. You want the
Locking
Prestige
it
to
in.
be your pick?
Locking
All
it
right,
in.
it's locked in.
And you
Okay, so
cannot
I'll do the
skim.
Prestige.
You cannot fast forward or skim anything.
Because I'll know. I'll know you skimmed.
Look
So
at
what
us.
happened?
I will
hour
say,
one,
if hopefully
minute
you
36.
Hopefully you pick something that's not egregiously long, like
It's not.
all
No.
3
No,
of
no,
the
no.
like Lord of the Rings extended edition.
No,
Nope.
No.
I just watched it again last
he
year.
gave you a Christopher Nolan movie, so you honestly can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I have 2.
Does anyone have something right now that you want to shout out to Alex?
No, I'm gonna
Honest-
wait.
Oh, you're
Okay,
gonna...
yeah,
okay.
you can wait.
Mhm.
I have
Because-
2 that I'm kind of like on top of for Alex.
I've
That
gotta
I
like. You got 2. Like I just have like a bone to pick with Alex first. I just have to stop the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Because-
Never mind.
I
Yeah,
want
does this
to
deserve
just.
its own timestamp?
It does.
Calling me
It
out.
does. At 5:50, I texted all 3 of you, and I said separately, of course. I didn't say I was texting any of you. I said, "What's your favorite game I've never played?" And I asked all 3 of you because my goal. This is my last goal, but I'm just gonna ruin it now because Alex has already stolen my thunder. Because my goal was to play a game that one of your favorite games of all time that I've never played. I was going to play it for the first time this year, and then we were going to record a peer review for all 3 of whatever you all said.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
And so,
That's
I w-
literally the same.
and I know because we're just content creators. That's all this is. We just think in content. I texted Yasser, and he said maybe Mass Effect, which I'd already played that, but he said would have said. But I would say Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2,
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
which I'm just finished The Last of Us Part 1.
He's like,
Right
man,
before
this
You already
is so
platinumed
easy."
it?
Yeah.
No, I've not planned it, but I did
Okay.
finish the story.
Nice.
So Yasser's probably first on the list. Now Tiffany gave me a list, and then she said, "I think I know what you're getting at." And so I didn't know if she knew that I was talking about our goals tonight.
I
But-
do.
You said, have you ever played Final Fantasy X, Ni no Kuni 2, Bravely Default, Midnight Suns? I'd like to throw Disney Dreamlight Valley in there because I think you can play it for free on Xbox. So, Tiffany, I would like for right now, for all the viewers at home and for me, to tell me what game I am playing and that we're going to do a peer review for the rest of this year, sometime this year.
Okay, wait, have you played Final Fantasy X?
I've never played any of these.
Oh, you've never played any of the... Oh, gosh.
Don't say Dreamlight Valley.
I won't say
Yes,
Dreamlight
please
Valley.
don't.
That's a lifestyle. Okay, but I also need I need it to be something that
means something to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that means something. You know what? I'm going to say Final Fantasy X because that is my Final Fantasy, and I have I'm in the middle of a replay through that I just haven't gone back to. So part of me feels like I almost need to do it too, to remind myself of it. And I feel like I have more of a nostalgia to go back to that right now versus I love Ni no Kuni 2 with a passion, but I just don't feel like replaying that right now. And Midnight Suns, I just bought the DLC and I want to go back to it, but let's do Final Fantasy X. Let's do Final Fantasy X.
That's fantastic.
It is as it's written. And then Alex, I was thinking you were the last to respond out of the three of you. And I was thinking, this is a good idea. I'm halfway done Yossers already. I'm already through the first part. This is fine.
Yeah.
Tiffany has some choices, but maybe she'll go easy on me and not pick the Final Fantasy so it doesn't take me forever to get through it. I'm living good. And then Alex responds with one word. Do you know what that word is?
Oh, boy.
Something that put the fear of God within me.
Persona?
Thinking, oh, no. He said, Yakuza.
Oh.
And I died. Then I go to how long to beat completion. It's 105 hours.
Oh.
For the
Whatever.
first one? The first
For
one?
Like a dragon?
I just keep
Oh, okay.
I just keep looking and I'm like, these are all terrible. Oh no. So Alex, just to finalize this, and so I understand what I'm doing, which Yakuza do you want to talk about this year?
Okay, so in light of Yakuza 8 coming out in mere days, we're just over
So now I have
a
to buy
week
it.
away from the release as of recording. I think it's best to go back to the beginning
Okay.
of where the journey of these characters come from, and that is Yakuza 0.
Okay.
Was
Yakuza
that free
0.
at any point?
It's on. It might have been on Game Pass at one point.
It might be. It might be on
It might
Game
still
Pass.
be on Game Pass.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So Final Fantasy X, Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, and Yakuza 0. Okay. That's our list.
Guys, let me just say this is a fantastic idea.
I love it.
And I'm not going to force Tiffany to do it, but now I need to do it as well. This wasn't even one of our resolutions. But I feel like it just makes sense.
Spontaneous.
It's too
Yeah.
natural. But I will have one prerequisite that it can't be over 50 hours. I'm sorry. So give
Okay.
me your best recommendation. Not right now, but your best recommendation, and can't be over 50 hours. I feel like that's a pretty easy thing to avoid. Movie or game is what I would.
Oh man, 50-hour
Ask for.
movie. Whew.
I would hope it's not a 50-hour movie.
What about
you can
a
ask
TV
me
show?
to.
What
like,
about
So
you
this is
could-
for all of us to give
I would
you
be
the answer?
okay with like a full trilogy, like watch Lord of the Rings, even though I've done that. But like I'm okay with doing that if you want me to. But I think that's a really great idea, and I love the concept of doing like the episode patched together afterwards
Yeah.
to like say that you did it and like discuss it all. I think that's really fun.
Yasser has listened to my Disney recommendations
I sure have.
from before, so that's okay. Let me think about that. Would you do a TV show?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
It's not 50
As long
hours.
as it's
right?
not 50
No.
hours.
No. If anything, it'd be like the first season.
Supernatural.
Yes. Big Bang Theory. Good luck.
I mean, technically, they're only 20 minutes a piece, so it could be like
Yeah, that's
4
totally fine.
seasons. No, I'm just
It's within 50 hours if you do 2 times speed.
yeah. Alex,
Yes, great idea.
my rec for you is like kind of hard because on one hand it's like I want to force you to watch every second of One Piece live action, even though you threaten to skim through the entire thing. And part of me wants you to just relive every moment because I just adored it so much, and to hear you say whether or not it was actually a good adaptation or not, you know? That's almost...
man.
But another part of me desperately wants you to read Project Hail Mary, because you straight up looked me in the eyes and said, I'm not reading that. Like, you legitimately, like, I own the book and it's at home.
It's so good.
And you're just like, I'm not going to read that. And I'm like,
what are these words on this page?
Yeah. God, Matt, what do you think I should just make
you
you
don't
read
have to
Project
decide
Hail
now.
Mary?
You can continue with your
but-
goal and we can double back.
But I can just tell you to do it, and they'll just
I
give
think you should
time.
do things that you think he'll enjoy, but also that you're super passionate about. That's going to make some good content.
Yeah, also,
Okay.
remember, we're going to have a discussion about it,
Right.
so it'll be
That's true.
however long, so whatever kind of insight you might think I have right after experiencing this thing.
You know
and
what?
if you want to have that conversation.
I'm locking it in because
Uh-oh.
guess what? I've heard that the audiobook for Project Hail Mary is phenomenal. And so I've been kind of meaning to go back or like to go and relive that story with it. So Alex, you're going to have to read Project Hail Mary. And then that gives me an excuse to re-listen to it and experience it with you. And this will prep you to be hype for the movie that's coming out.
Or deflated.
Or God, you're gonna
No.
be like, he's gonna be like, this movie's gonna be boring.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's not. Well, no, if you skim.
Who's
know.
cast as the main
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling.
Oh, Ryan
Oh,
Gosling.
wow.
okay.
Ken himself.
Ken, the Kenergy. He's gonna be Kenning.
Did
You
you
know?
see the clip from the Emmys when he got the
won
award for best
For best
original song, and
Song,
he like
yeah.
looks so confused. He's like, "Oh gosh,
Yeah.
does this mean I have to present at the Oscars? If
Yeah.
I have to perform at the Oscars?"
Yeah.
He looked petrified. But that was amazing. All right, that's good. That's a really good pick. That's a really
Wow,
good pick.
both of you guys are in
Good one.
sync.
Alex, we are in sync. That's crazy. Like, what I also appreciate is like, Yasser and Tiffany were both like, you know what? We have similar game tastes for like a lot of the things. Like, that's why we're friends. And I'm like, you know, that is right. That is why. Anyway, cool.
So
Who else
now I
got
gotta
a goal?
have a movie and a book. You know, not to say
Okay.
also you should pick a game, but it would round it out.
I will
It's
round
true.
it out for you. I got you with the game. Don't worry.
Oh.
But not right now. I'm not going to tell you right now because I'm still like thinking
Oh.
about it.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
sure.
I'll also like go through your list and see like what you play and try to give you something that's a little different. So that's why I want to like take my time. I don't know what
Okay,
you play
that's
as much
fair.
as these two do. I think. But speaking of which, I think I'm gonna start with my probably lowest goal, easiest threshold to hopefully pass, and that's to read 7 books this year. Keeping it simple.
Nice.
Yes.
I don't read a lot of books. I usually stick to nonfiction. So I
Okay.
want one of them to be fiction.
Okay.
And I also do audiobooks, so I'm going to let those count if I do audiobooks.
As you should.
But yeah. And because I feel like that makes it a lot easier for me, like when I'm commuting or doing anything like that.
when you're
I can kinda
training
just
for your
listen in.
bike, right?
Yeah.
Also true.
Mhm.
That's coming up. That'll be there too for sure. But yeah, so 7 books, goal for the year.
I love
And
Bob Iger's Ride of a Lifetime. I'm just saying.
that, yeah, when you were talking about that, I definitely wrote it down. I think it's going to be one of the ones I consider reading. And then if one of you want to recommend a fiction book to me, I will consider it. Well, I mean, I'll do it, but yeah.
Part of me wants to force Project Hail Mary.
Yeah,
and
you
it's...
can't.
Wow,
You
just on
can't do it
everybody.
twice. You
Oh,
can't
I
do
can't
it
do it.
twice.
Okay,
Can't
then
do it twice.
I won't do it. I won't do
Yeah,
it.
think about the content.
I'll listen to your guys' review and then decide from there if I'll
Okay.
read it myself.
There you
I
go.
think that
That's
sounds
fair.
like a good strategy. Yeah.
I just sent you a message, Yasser, for you to get a Goodreads account, and then you can follow
Ooh,
me.
It's a good idea. I do have a Goodreads account. I just don't use it. I should start using it.
Yeah, because
It's so
Amazon
good.
forces on all of us. But
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh,
I mean,
I had no idea.
well, Amazon bought Goodreads like 10 or 15 years ago or something. But I enjoy
Yeah.
using Goodreads a lot. So.
Goodreads is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Not as good as Letterboxd, but it's pretty close. Pretty close.
Okay. Well, you know what? Now that we're talking about Goodreads,
I knew you had one. You're like, 150 books this year, everybody.
No, guys.
Strap in. 2 nonfictions.
I'm reeling it back. I'm reeling it back because I'm not gonna lie. In December, I was at like 75 books, and I was really stressed about getting to 78. And wow. I mean, I surpassed it, but my goal, my new goal this
75.
year. No. It is going to be, I'm going back to 52. Okay. So I'm going to 52 books. That's an average of 1 book a year. I've also decided that I will increase my goal each time I add a comic or webtoon. So if I read, let's say I read a comic book, I will then increase my goal to 53. So
it's
as
only counting like print
fiction
books,
or nonfiction, or audiobooks or whatever. I have so far read/listened to 6 books.
Wow.
You already almost beat my goal.
I guess that's true. Honestly, the combination.
We need to record this earlier each year. Last year, she had 21 books already.
Yeah,
oh my God,
everyone's saying these goals are like, I'm gonna set this goal because I already have a jump start on it.
Listen, it's the combination of audio.
Listen, I'm 50 pages in tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. That is not a jump start.
Whoa, slow your roll.
But you platinum the game and like finished the game,
True.
and I have
you
like
platinum 2 games.
I haven't even like turned on a
she
console.
hasn't even hooked up her PlayStation.
I have hooked it back up. It's hooked up.
Meanwhile, Marvel Spider-Man 2 just resting in the corner.
Oh my gosh, it's installed now.
What happens to Peter?
But yeah, so that's my book goal. And can I go into my game goal?
Yeah, go for it.
Do it.
Actually, I'm gonna just kind of break down the rest because like this is my like second goal that's like has sub bullets. Okay. So my goal is to roll credits on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Ooh, I am not allowed. After that, I've bought that game. I am not allowed to buy another PlayStation game until I have rolled credits on a PlayStation game. Wow. So after Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like that's the one I've already bought. I can't buy any more.
So that doesn't count. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes. I am not allowed to buy the Switch 2 until I finish Mario Wonder and Fire Emblem Engage.
Oh, okay.
Until I
thought you were totally going to say Tears of the Kingdom.
No. My goal.
You're like critically acclaimed game. No.
No.
Someone check on Zelda. She's crying.
So until I've rolled credits on Wonder and Fire Emblem Engage, I am not allowed to buy the Switch 2. Like Alex will hold me to it. Super Switch, whatever it's called. Yes.
Say there's a direct next week and pre-orders go live.
And
then?
It's backwards compatible. Backwards compatible.
No.
You're saying you're not able to pre-order? Oh
no,
man.
I am
We're going to be living with our Super Switch in September.
But it's backwards compatible.
If it's we might have to discuss it, but as of right now, no.
Listen, Tiffany, we'll never know. We'll never know. Just do it by the time it gets to you. We'll never know.
And then this is sort of like a little bit of a sprinkle for me. It's like I'm limiting my gaming purchases to the gift cards that I have in the Nintendo ecosystem and PlayStation ecosystem. I'm going to try. Okay, so here's the thing though. Okay, the super.
She's like $1,000 in gift cards.
Yeah.
No, hold on. So
I invested in crypto.
For the Nintendo Switch, I have $42.05 on my account, but I have $70 in unredeemed gift cards. So that's like one AAA game. Like that's like one main game. This is not included in my Switch 2 situation, the expenditure for that. Once that comes out, that's a whole nother gaming budget. I'm talking about for like my regular darn Switch right now. I'm going to try to keep it. I mean, it's very modest. But it's more so that if I were to finish and roll credits on more Switch games, I will open that up. But for now, if I literally haven't rolled credits on or finished anything, I'm not allowed to spend beyond my means, if that makes sense. And my PlayStation 1 is a little bit obscene. I have like over $160 in my account, and I have like more unredeemed gift cards, so we don't have to really talk about that one.
Well, how much are we talking?
Oh,
like,
man.
total?
$200. I have $200 in unredeemed PlayStation gift cards. 'Cause
Okay,
I got
that's not
2.5
crazy.
games.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That you're right. It's basically
But she can't buy those until she's finished another game. So
With-
I mean,
Yeah.
you could buy
man.
multiple games if they're on sale, as long as you're not going for new releases. You could get like 5 or 6.
I mean, I could get plenty, but
Yeah.
I'm
yeah, jumping nuggets is like $3.
going to now listen. Alex and
I am
I
red.
might do the game share situation. So
There you go.
his purchases are not my purchases. These are
True.
talking about. I'm talking about
Unbelievable.
my.
You're like
purchases.
telling us your loopholes.
That's how she's playing Spider-Man 2.
You're like,
anyway.
Alex, I haven't even started Rebirth, but could you maybe buy this on
This
your
plucky
PlayStation?
squire. Yeah. No.
No, it would be the Kill the Justice League.
Oh, yes, of course.
So I say these things, right? These are my game goals. I've already pre-ordered a Switch game. That's outside of this. I pre-ordered this game like an hour ago. But yeah, this
What
is where
game?
I'm at.
What game did you pre-order?
I pre-ordered a game that was advertised to me on Instagram.
Oh my god.
And it's called
I like how embarrassed you
Bandletale.
are.
No, I'm not embarrassed. I'm just telling you it happened. It's called Bandletale. It's a League of Legends crafting cozy Switch game, y'all.
Wow.
I literally saw a photo
It's the
on my
most
Instagram.
Tiffany sentence I've
Very
ever
on
heard in my
brand.
life.
Yes, I
Like,
literally
League
I
of
was like,
Legends cozy crafting puzzle.
I
No,
literally looked at the
It's like
trailer.
AI created it.
I clicked on the ad, and literally when the trailer of the game started playing, the first activity they showcased was fishing, and I was
man.
like,
It's
"Oh
done.
my gosh, give it to me!"
So should we start the Game of the Year talks now, or
It comes out in February, and that's
Okay.
and then the Switch had a pre-order bonus. So then I was like, "Well, I want that hat." So of course I'm going to pre-order.
Rebirth is gonna have come out, and she's like, "I'm too busy fishing in Bandletale."
yeah?
That's literally because I get
I don't
to
need
be
to
a
buy another
yordle.
PlayStation game. I'm fishing.
I'm
Oh my god.
Wow. Okay. Well,
Did you draft it on your fantasy critic team?
Can you shut the hell up right now?
Oh, you have it in the bid. Okay, got it.
oh, I'm
I
gonna-
swear to
I'm gonna
gosh,
bid like $2 on it.
if you, I'm about to murder everyone. When you asked me what game I pre-ordered, I almost literally didn't want to say because I didn't want to remind
That's
people about
hilarious.
fantasy.
You better put at
Critic.
least $10.
Don't
on
worry.
Now,
I
'cause
am
we're
not
Just
bidding.
last
putting
week, I held
$10.
back on mentioning something till after bids process. So
Oh my god!
I'm gonna bid $9 on it, so you have to spend $10 to get it.
I swear to
Matt's gonna
God.
just get it on accident.
Yeah.
And then you'll have lost $9. So there
Could be
goes
good.
all your money for Mario.
Probably
Odyssey
lose
2.
9 points too.
oh, it doesn't matter. I already snatched that up, so he can't get it anyway.
You've already done
Oh my God.
pre
The
Mario release.
unannounced
Unannounced
mainline Mario.
Is that what you did? Did you?
Yeah, he did.
How
No
much did you
shot.
spend on that?
0.
Yeah.
I added
It's-
some pickups too. They were very cheap.
Yeah, you got a lot
Yeah.
of it, actually.
Yeah, you took a lot,
I went
yeah.
in on that first weekend. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, you did. All right. Anybody else have goals? I feel like you guys are. Have you?
Oh, yeah. Oh
You
no,
got
no,
some more
I definitely have
goals?
more goals. That's for
Okay,
sure.
go for it. Go for it.
All right, I'll do the one that you guys already know about because we talked about it in the most anticipated experiences of 2024,
Okay.
and that's my STP, Seattle to Portland bike ride. It's going to be
Nice.
pretty straightforward as far as like what the goal is. I have to complete that in 2 days,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
very straightforward. But obviously there'll be a lot of training to do in between now and then. That's going to happen in mid-July. So
Nice.
like I said, if I don't come back in August, I died on that ride. So
And then we won't rate you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you don't have to worry
yeah.
about this whole
I mean,
process.
I'm going to get a
Yeah.
pretty bad rating if I die on the trip. But yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, honestly, didn't finish 0 out of 5. At least you know where you stand. Alex, you want to give your last goal, man?
Yeah, so, I've been making fun of books a lot, but this second goal is book related. And it's a long time in the making, mostly because it's been something I've been thinking out for a very long time.
Is it your writing?
And that is my second goal for 2024 is to write a novel.
Wow. Really?
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
And this dates back to a long history where essentially since high school, around freshman, sophomore year, I've been thinking about a particular story that has evolved and grown since then. And essentially, with time passing by, I've kind of figured out some more of the key points and messaging I want to include in the story. And I feel like, as part of the show, this show being a motivator to get certain things done, I thought, why not? This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time, at this point, over a decade in the making, and might as well kind of link it to this thing that we do publicly. So in case I fail to do it, then it's, a public shaming essentially. And so in order to avoid that situation, my goal is to get that story down on paper. So I say this mostly as it'll be a first draft at the minimum. So not necessarily saying like I'm going to go back and have this thing completely edited and it'll be the perfect embodiment of what I want the story to be. But my goal is to at least get that first draft down, from start to finish by the end of the year. And so, hopefully I can get this, decade-long dream in the making done by the end of 2024.
Can I ask you a question? And if you don't want to answer it, completely fine. What type of novel is in your mind? Genre, like subsection, like just to give us a little glimmer of like what type of story you're wanting to share.
So I know Tiffany's mentioned a lot of things when we've talked about books in the past, how genres have morphed, and I feel like there's probably my understanding of what genres are today are very dated in terms of what they might be classified as, but it'll be a variant of
speculative
fantasy,
fiction?
of fantasy,
okay,
with some sci-fi elements.
Love it. You hit like my two things, my two settings.
I dig it as well. I dig it.
Yeah.
All right, I can't wait. No more. I don't want to hear any more. I just want to see the final product.
You don't want the title? You want the
no.
title?
Oh, you have the
It's
title?
work in progress.
Oh man.
So the goal is to complete it this year?
to write out the first draft from start to finish.
Okay, first draft. Got it. Cool.
Almost like your own personal nanny remo. Do you remember that?
Yeah, National November Writers Month.
Yeah.
Can I be one of your editors?
I mean, once I get it done, all of you can get a copy and take a read. The raw version of it and critique me for however terrible a writer I am.
As long as I get credited as one of your editors, I'm down.
In the acknowledgement section.
Wherever they put editors. I don't
just
know.
RXP. just a URL to our YouTube channel. That's all we need. And you gotta give credit to Grandmaster Doug as well for the tunes.
Honestly, I
end.
love that you're actually making a step forward towards
yeah.
that. Like, I love it
That's
because
awesome.
you have mentioned it to me on the side for a couple years now. So I've also been kind of like pinging him because of my book hobby right now. I see a lot of notices through Publishers Weekly, just seeing like so and so got a book deal with so and so representative for 6 figures for a 2-book deal, or stuff like that. And so, and like it's like the premise is like 2 sentences long that you see in that, and then the book comes out in like 2 years later, and I'm like, Alex, look, like literally people are getting published. You don't even need to go through the traditional publishing route either, because Kindle Unlimited's a thing. Like, there's just so many ways to like get your stuff out there now.
True.
I
That's
honestly like I applaud this because like this is something that I would have no idea. One, I'm not a good writer, so I would not be burdened by this choice of like to write or not because I can't.
Same.
But even if I could, like that sounds like the scariest thing that I could ever do. Like honestly, so that you are putting it out there to say this is my goal 2024 to like start and finish this thing, like that's awesome. And it's been sitting on you for 10 years, some story.
Yeah, not this exact
on and off.
form.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of things, especially recently, like both in life, but also just in the news that I've seen that kind of has helped influence the direction I want to take it. And so definitely it's a story that was based in my high school years, and maybe there's some elements of that. So if it comes across in the writing, maybe these are kind of leftover, vestiges of where this story was rooted in. But then over time, as I've gotten older, it's kind of that story has grown to reflect that. And I hope, it kind of hits that middle ground of, it has a lot of elements that do target maybe a slightly younger audience, but also has that kind of more mature overtone where it's not just kind of typical, everyday problems, right? Obviously, this is a fantasy, so it's very much rooted in saying there's going to be some level of conceit you're going to have when you go into this, right? Where I'm going to be setting up certain things of, right, this is specific to this world. And so, but at the same time, there will be some analog to our real life, right, as most fantasy has. And so hopefully there's kind of this back and forth that can be mapped to say, even if it doesn't come across in the best way, you can at least understand kind of the direction I wanted to take in case it doesn't, make the landing.
I love it. Love it. Anyone have, I think Yasser, you have one more, right?
I do have one more. Does anyone else have any others?
Yasser, I have a question.
Nope.
Yes.
Have you played Cult of the Lamb?
I have not.
Okay. Let me think about
They
it.
just added 6.
Added
Did
what?
they
did.
really?
They did.
I'm
What?
in.
So cultists can have children now.
They can
Oh.
have children?
Yeah, so the cultists will birth a child. I don't know how they determine the features of it because all the cultists are randomly generated.
Yeah.
But they can have relations and then they'll have a child.
It's another one of like the abilities that you can do, like for like mana or
sermons,
whatever.
yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The update was
Oh.
called Sins of the Flesh.
I did see that, but I didn't know what that was. And I noticed that they had like leaves. They were like no clothes and they had leaves.
So speaking of games, this is the loftier goal that I have for this year, and it's because I feel like I've neglected my single player games for far too long now.
Okay.
You guys all know at this point that I do like to focus on multiplayer games. I don't usually make as much time for my single player experiences as a result. We still have Red Dead Redemption 2 to finish, guys. It's still on there. We might,
oh my
we
god,
might finish it one day.
From the beginning.
Oh yeah, we have to like
That's a
restart. It's
callback.
just it is
Yeah.
a callback from our OGs out there.
Yeah.
But listen, I want to go through and complete roll credits on 20 single player experiences this year. And that's a big deal for me. I don't
That's
think I'm going
huge
to be able to do it,
huge.
but I'm going to try. And on top of it, I'm going to let you guys follow along. I have my list, my queue. I've already shared it with Matt. This is a queue with 10 different categories of games. I want to really add variety to the games that I'm playing this year. And I'm totally open to suggestions. So if you want to add a game as your recommended experience for me, tell me where it fits and I will fit it in there. But really, I want to make sure that I get a lot of variety in. I want to make sure I get some of these games out of the way because I've been wanting to play a lot of these for a very long time. And I think with an organized approach, I can do it. So we'll
Wait a
see how
minute.
it goes.
Wait a minute.
There's
Yeah.
a lot more.
There's a
than
lot of
20
games on here
Yeah,
that I
I was
haven't
like-
played. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. So this is my queue. For the listeners that can't see this right now, I have a Excel sheet of games that I want to play, and these aren't going to be all games that I complete in 2024, obviously. But these are the games I still have yet to play that I want to play, and those are the ones that just immediately came to mind. But there are other games that are not on this list that I want to play too. These are what I'm prioritizing initially. And so if you see a game that isn't on here that fits a specific niche that I haven't really played before, I would be open to it.
Can I
but
add
these are where we
something
are.
to your list?
Yes.
Can you add Paper Mario Thousand Year Door that comes out later this year and is one of my favorite games of all time? And I think you would dig it, and I'll pay for it.
No, that's good. So question.
Wait, is that going to be your game though? Because Yasser says he's going to take one rec from all of us too. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's for all of us? I thought it was just you.
I'm sorry. Wait, say that again.
I thought Yasser was going to take one rec from each of the three of us that he would try to also do this year to mimic, to mirror your and Alex's.
I totally missed that. I thought it was just you, Tiffany. I was like, man.
No, it's all three of you.
It's all three of us, and I'm like, I'm not getting on this bandwagon. I already have to like redo the things that I'm gonna do with you guys. So like,
and you've got some lofty goals in there too, for sure.
Yeah.
All right,
but yeah, so I have a quick question about Paper Mario. Is it a remake of the N64 Paper Mario, or is it a separate Paper Mario?
The GameCube
one. Okay, that's good because I have Paper Mario, the N64 one on there.
That's why I saw that, and this one is arguably better.
Okay.
Like a lot of people say that this is better.
Should I play
I'm one of
the
those
N64 Paper Mario first?
No, you don't.
Or should I just scrap it and play that Paper Mario instead?
I prefer Thousand Year Door over Paper Mario.
Okay. All right. We have,
and they're not like interconnected or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Okay, cool.
I do want to shout out that I see here on the far right, you have Thronebreaker. I'm assuming this is the Gwent single player campaign.
It is. Yes.
And that is honestly one of the least expected items I would have thought I had seen on this list, because I have gone through I have fully played Thronebreaker, so I have rolled credits on it, and it feels like it's one of those things that unless you're really obviously into Gwent, that a lot of people forget that this thing exists like in the Witcher universe. When especially because they start, not that it's end of life service for Gwent, but they've CD Projekt has stopped updating Gwent like the standalone game,
right?
So it definitely feels kind of like this end of days type of thing where it doesn't get a lot of attention anymore. When I played Witcher 3 all the way through,
Gwent, like the side missions with Gwent, were like one of the most captivating things about it for me in that game, which completely threw me that was a total curveball for me when I played The Witcher 3. Wasn't expecting that at all, and I loved Gwent so much that I just wanted to play more of it. And so I tried the Gwent standalone game, like you mentioned. I liked it, but I didn't really care for the PvP portion of it because it really just turned into like meta versus meta. So Thronebreaker seemed like a good alternative, but for me, like it's hard for me to get into turn-based games when they're standalone like that. Obviously, Gwent is turn-based as well, but it just felt different. So I ended up just going on my backlog, but I do want to play that this year. So it's right after Sea of Stars. And it is part of my 2 flex categories, where I wanted to implement 2 genres that I don't play very often, and that's Souls-likes and turn-based RPGs. And so if you have a recommendation for any of those, I'd love to hear them as well, because I've never played, for example, Fire Emblem, so be a pretty good recommendation as well. But yeah, whatever you think is the best experience for someone who doesn't play those kind of games, I'd love to hear them.
Because those Paper Mario games, the Thousand Year Door, that is a turn-based RPG.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm still not going to put it in that category, and the reason why, for the folks that can't see it, I gave the Nintendo 3DS and the Nintendo Switch their own categories, and the reason why is because those 2 consoles just don't get enough love. So I need to make sure that I get through and play more of those games. So those are their own category. I'm focusing on getting more of those games done, but for my goal, I want to play and beat at least 2 of each of these 10 categories. So that's my goal. It's not just 10 of any. Obviously, the bite-sized ones, I have a category for bite-sized 10 hours or less. I could just go through those and get at least half pretty easily, but I'm not going to do that. I think it's 2 of each category, and that's my bare minimum to meet my goal this year.
All right.
Okay, and I need I have a clarifying question. So, Yasser, when you were saying that you didn't want me to double dip to recommend Project Hail Mary to you, so we're all not allowed to double dip with our rec to you. Okay.
I think that's a good strategy.
Okay.
That way we can like talk about it with one person, and then someone else will talk about something completely different, and then we can kind of just like review as a group afterwards and see what people liked, what they didn't like, and then kind of decide from there if we want to try it ourselves.
Okay.
Cool.
Man, I'm trying to think if I'm going to recommend you a game or a movie. Or you don't really do shows that much, do you, Yasser? So you don't want to show at all? I need more.
Oh no. I shouldn't have said only a movie or a game. I'm open to TV shows. I'm open to books.
Okay.
Especially audiobooks would be great. But yeah, I'm open to other forms of media as well.
Okay.
But I do maintain that it has to be less than 50 hours.
Right. Luckily, audiobooks are 20 or less.
Yeah.
So
Audiobooks are easy.
Okay. I think
That's my loftiest goal. I really hope I can get it though.
That's
because that alone means I'm beating 2 open world RPGs, which is like it never happens. So really excited for that. By the way, you guys might notice I have Cyberpunk 2077 as a game that I'm playing right now. It's not because I haven't beaten it before. I have beaten it, but the new updates to Cyberpunk have completely changed my experience with the game. Just letting you guys know as a preview. I'm totally replaying it from the beginning all the way through to the end of the new DLC that came out.
Wow.
But I really do think this is a completely revamped experience versus what we got with the 1.0 release. And this is the game that I was expecting to release in like 2020 when it first came out. And now I have no problem recommending it, but I still want to finish it first before I give that like definitive stamp of approval. But I'm loving my time with Cyberpunk right now.
That's awesome.
Is the list in an order as well, or is it just besides what you're currently playing is just listed?
No, it is in order of when or how I'm planning to play right now.
Okay.
But it's also subject to like shifts and adjustments.
Right.
I did ask Matt for recommendations of that kind of sort. So we actually moved Sifu up. It was down below, I think, like the Forgotten City, but we moved it all the way up to after Firewatch. So I am open to suggestions.
It is interesting because I see here. So you're currently playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. That's a lot of Star Wars to get through because it's all 9 films.
Yeah, but I don't think it's an excessively long game.
Right. Being a Lego game. But in particular, I did notice you have all 3 Batman Arkham games back to back to back. So I was just interested of the likelihood of like actually like once you finish Asylum, you're going to go to City and then go to Night right after? Or do you think there might be some like peppering in that column like in between?
I think there likely will be peppering. I'm leaving it up to like my choice of did I really enjoy that game? And if I did, I'm going to just jump into the sequel. And if I think, meh, or I didn't like it, then I'm just going to either scrap them or play the sequels later. But right now, I typically, you can see that in like Resident Evil and Injustice and Doom and God of War. I usually put the sequel right after, but then usually put like question marks like, do I really want to play this? We'll see. So that's kind of my thinking. But we'll see at the end of the year how this actually plays out. And you guys can follow along.
I can't wait for this. This is great. Like, I am very interested in your Souls-like, because that's probably one of my favorite categories just in general.
Yeah, it's true.
So I will definitely be curious on that. And then your roguelite, I've never played Dead Cells. I know a lot of people love Dead Cells. Returnal that you have on there, great. Deathloop was my game of the year that year. And then Hades, it's Dead Cells, Returnal, Deathloop, Outer Wilds, and then Hades. Hades and Deathloop were both my game of the year that they came out. So like, if you're looking for two
it's a banger category
recommendations, like, and Returnal was maybe my second favorite game the year it came out. So like, honestly, I would be focusing on roguelite if I were you. But then I'm like,
that's like fast track that column.
And then I see linear story. I'm like, you got to get through Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 so we can talk about it. But then also like Alan Wake Remastered and Alan Wake 2's there. I'm like, 20 is going to fly by. Let me tell you. If you need help on figuring out what to go to next, let me know because I've got thoughts.
A couple notes. I will say I think some categories kind of like put it out of me. Like I need to have the motivation to play some categories. I think open world RPGs fit in that category. I think roguelites fit in that category too. Only because like it feels a little repetitive to me. Even if I love the game, I still feel like when I'm playing something like a level over and over, even if it's RNG and it's like different, it still feels a little bit more of a sluggish pace in comparison. So those I usually try to keep like a shorter list. So that's why. And then also the other note I wanted to make is these are not in the order of how good I think they're going to be.
Right.
I really tried to
Right.
organize them in ways where they're different experiences that go back to back rather than like the same thing over and over again. So that's kind of where I was thinking there. But I know how good Hades is, and it killed me to put it that low, but I know all of them are great. So it's kind of hard, you know?
I will say, so say this is the second half of the year, Yasser, and you're like,
Yeah.
I need to get through some of these things. I haven't even touched roguelites.
No, that's
Like,
not going to
Dead
happen,
Cells
but
is
yeah.
still there. But I will say Deathloop is probably one of the most linear roguelites I've ever played. And I'm just trying to advocate for it because, and I'm advocating for you as my friend, like, it is a refreshing game as far as a roguelite sense, and it's not RNG based because RNG sometimes is like the biggest burnout in most of those games.
Yeah.
So just a thing. It's already there. It's already close to the top. So,
Yes.
you know, you do you, but like,
Wait, Matt.
Man, look at this subtle campaigning over here.
No, but I mean, Matt has to give a rec to Yasser anyway. Does he want
I
to make
know.
that his rec?
Oh,
Or is it 1,000
I don't
year
think
door? Is that
so. I will say I don't think anything on here should be the rec. You can give me recommendations
that's-
on like moving it up, but I'm already expected to play these games or like at some
Yeah,
point.
he's looking
hopefully
for
this year.
Oh,
new.
the new.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm hoping for recommendations of something I hadn't thought of, something I
It's
hadn't
off
heard
his
about.
radar.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah,
there are
he's-
plenty of games that are not on
He's
this
like
list that are
jumping nuggets.
amazing.
Count me in.
Yeah.
If someone
He-
feels passionate about Goat Simulator, I'll play Goat Simulator. I'm there for it.
Dude, I'm like a second away from putting you on Power Wash Simulator. Just
Oh,
tempt
God,
me.
please don't do
I'm
it
right.
to me.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
good. It's so
Don't
good.
do it to me.
I
Yasser's
already see
like,
majority.
I don't have a PlayStation Portal. I can't play it like you can.
I know. I've already put like 50 hours in it. The platinum's bugged. So as soon as that gets fixed, that'll be platinum number 3 for the year. But anyway. All right. Anybody else have last minute goals? These are all awesome. Like, I think we went for it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't it's not a goal, but part of seeing Yasser's list here, right, in Excel makes me more ashamed of how I
Keep track of
manage
your
my gaming.
Garbage. Yeah.
Mostly because I use a notepad, so the program Notepad on Windows, and so it's not even a Word document because I don't own a subscription to Microsoft Office. So it's literally the Notepad, and I've titled it "Backlog of Shame."
You could literally use Google Sheets.
It doesn't even look
Or just a
remotely
piece
as
of paper,
organized.
you know
or
what I
neat
mean? Like-
as Yasser's list does here. so.
Alex, Yasser's using Google Sheets. You can use Google Sheets.
No, I'm
I've-
using Excel. But either way, it's the same
Oh, that's
thing.
Excel?
I've
Yeah.
seen this
It's just an online
notepad
version of it.
that Alex is talking
Oh.
about.
Yeah.
And
is it
Alex,
crazy
if
long?
this-
Or is it really
If this
short?
is opened up on your computer and like the FBI came to your house and like looked at that notepad, they would go immediately to your basement to look for dead bodies. Like they're like,
Yeah.
there's a serial
on this
killer
notepad?
here. It's
It's
just
just
like
That
Unabomber-esque. It's like, I started this game at this time. I finished it this time. I platinumed it this time.
Yeah.
I shelved it at this time.
Yeah.
It's like he's programming GG or IGN lists. Like he's going above and beyond. Let's just say that. Anyway.
Speaking of which, quick shout out to IGN's playlist app. I think it helped me a lot in organizing this. So check it out if you ever want to organize what games you're playing.
It kills me, Yasser, that it doesn't have like a friend ability. You know what I mean?
But it's
That
really
I-
for you, right? And then you can still share stuff with other people, but really, it would be nice to have a followability.
Matt's
My-
like, I
my
wanna
favorite
stalk your list
time, though.
24/7.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about Letterboxd, why I love it so much, I
Yeah.
follow a lot of people on it, and it puts me on different movies that I'm like,
True.
oh, this just wasn't on my radar, and this person really liked it, and we have similar tastes. So
Yeah.
hopefully they change it. When they do, I will flip from GG to IGN playlist. I promise. But
Yeah, the visibility-
the UI is way better.
Yeah.
I will say that.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, because I
Or-
see people put like that they just finished reading a book on Goodreads,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh, I should check that one out.
Yeah.
I do
great.
notice though that some people are afraid to rate the books. I notice a lot of my friends will just say they read it. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
they won't give it a star rating.
I will say it's the hardest thing for me to do because I'm not a huge reader. So for me, it's like if I finish the book, that's a big compliment. So it's probably getting a 5 out of 5.
I feel you.
And,
You
and if
also
it's not
don't
getting a 5 out of
use
5, it's
the
going to be
whole
4 out of
scale.
4.
Yeah, I'm guilty of not necessarily using the whole scale because I also know a lot of authors are actually on Goodreads themselves. But like, you know, I don't write any hateful words on there. I rated out of 5 from Tiffany vibes, you know, so like 5 out of 5. There's a possibility that book was my personality for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Or a year. Who knows? So that's a 5 out of 5 Tiffany book.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
I
Love
will
all these
review
goals.
all my books for you, Tiffany.
Okay.
You better review all the things, and you better friend us on Goodreads. Anyway, and you know what else you'll find on Goodreads? Alex's book when he finishes writing it. Let's go.
Yeah,
Anyway,
let's go.
Or it'll be on Bad Reads. I don't know.
Nope. Good vibes only, Goodreads only. Listen, 5 out of 5s all around. All right, everybody. That is episode 88 of the RXP podcast. If you want to like, share, subscribe, hit all those buttons and bells and everything else. Thank you to Grandmaster Doug for the tunes. We will see you next time. Something that put the fear of God within me.
Matt's like, I want to stalk your list 24/7.